financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is the truth about credit card debt and your credit score. Brian Small.
It's great to be here, Ken, and I have one question for you. Can you handle the truth?
Isn't it you can't handle the truth?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Did you ever even see that movie?
I've seen the movie many times, but
What's the name of the movie?
A Few Good Men.
Who is the star of
Tom Cruise,
and
Jack Nicholson.
you get 100%. Brian gets an A for movie trivia today. Mark that down.
Nobody liked Demi Moore?
What about Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon?
Everybody loves that movie. All right. Besides, did you order the code blue? And you can't handle the truth.
Thought it
What's
was
your
the
favorite
code
line?
red.
As a lawyer, what's your favorite line in the movie?
I can't really say that, I don't think, on the video. But there's...
I can't remember that one. Do you have one?
Something about how you're terrible at basketball or baseball.
Mine was, so this is a courtroom. Do you remember that scene? Because he was the young lawyer? Okay. All right, back to the show. All right, Brian Small, I said good morning to you, so we're done with you. Jeff Linden.
Good to be here, Ken.
Jim Simasco.
Always a pleasure.
Jim is an elder law expert. He's been on the show before, but you haven't been in for a while because Pat's been doing the show most of the time.
That's correct.
It's good to have you back.
Happy to be here.
There's another movie, My Cousin Vinny, when
Better
he's
movie.
doing the cross-examination, and he says, I'm done with this guy. I'm done with this guy. I'm done with this guy. That's one of my favorites. Okay, so credit card debt, time for the truth. My number one point, credit card debt, in my view and our view, is financial cancer. And when it's uncured, it's the death to your financial future. It progresses from stage 1 to stage 4, but instead of causing death, it causes financial ruin.
That's a pretty darn good explanation.
As we go through the show, we'll demonstrate why that is true. But we're throwing out the truisms first. Your credit score. It has importance when you want to obtain credit. There's truth to that statement. But it's insignificant when your problem is too much debt.
Right.
Example, if you need brain surgery to save your life, are you going to worry if they shave your head?
I'm not.
Brian's not. You're
You
going to
had to
sit
look
there and
that way
say,
when you asked the question.
you're going to say, the hair will grow back.
No, not in my case.
Not in your case. So there's an exception to every analogy. The credit score is the same. If your credit score suffers in the process of getting rid of debt, it will come back. It's like the hair that gets shaven to pursue brain surgery to save your life. It's the same thing. And you'll see when we get there.
Credit scores heal themselves. Once you've done the damage, if you've corrected it in some capacity, and we're going to talk about how we're going to
They get
correct
better.
it, your credit score gets better. And when your credit score gets better, sometimes you get great, you keep your credit great, and sometimes you make the same mistakes you made before. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you won't make the mistakes after learning what you're going to learn today.
If you don't correct your credit score, isn't it true it just keeps getting worse?
Well, it's going to eventually reach the point where it can't get much lower. And then you're not going to be eligible to be granted credit.
Yeah, and I actually like the point. I would say that's true. It's like if you don't draw a line in the sand to correct it, it's going to the derogatories on your credit report if you were behind on paying bills. If you stop being behind on paying bills, that'll eventually fall off. But if you continue to stay behind on bills, your credit score is going to continue to slump. And yeah, it can't get any lower than what, 400 or something?
It can be 300 is what they say. I've actually never seen a credit score in the 300s, but
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody has.
Let's talk another concept that goes right with it is the credit card trap. And here's the credit card trap. When the amount you have to pay on your credit cards every month is high enough that when you pay your bills after you get paid, and you leave yourself $100 to your next paycheck, and 3 days into the period waiting for your next paycheck, you've used up the $100 and you need to buy something, what do?
Unfortunately, people have to charge back up on their credit cards,
To get to the next payday.
which means that what goes down goes up, and it keeps going up because it never goes down as much as it goes
But
up.
most important, it goes down when you make the payments, and then it comes back up, so it never goes away. There's a lot of people who, as a matter of course, pride themselves in making sure they pay more than the minimum payment. Their minimum payments come to $900 a month on their cards, and they sit there saying, I pay $1,500 every month, I've got it under control. The fallacy is, so they've brought it down $1,500, forgetting plus interest charges, bringing it back up, but they still leave themselves no money in their bank account, so they use the cards and they charge and they go back up the same month. The credit card balances never go down.
No,
Like Brian
actually-
says, they creep
Well, they
up
float
until the
up.
point where you max out.
Yeah, I was going to say over a year's time, if you're playing that game, pay down, charge up, pay down, charge up, eventually you owe more money at the end of the 12 months than you did at the beginning of the 12 months. No matter how hard you try to pay it down.
And you're using a 12-month window. But I think what you need to think about, and we're going to do an example in a second, is it's a 10-year window and it's a 20-year window. You got $40,000 of credit card debt. You're paying interest on it. You're making payments more than your minimum payments, but you use the cards. You're going to still owe $40,000 in 20 years. That's the whole point, and all the interest that you're paying. So, example, Jerry the bartender. We haven't had Jerry the bartender on the show in a long time. When he gets back after the break, we're going to tell you about Jerry the bartender. COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We will create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh,
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, It's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. We got Jerry the bartender. He's our client.
He's not back from somewhere. Jerry's just never gone anywhere. He's been behind
He's
the
back.
bar.
He's here. Jerry gives great advice. Okay, in fact, he makes $70,000 a year, most of it in tips, because everybody likes to talk to Jerry. He's in a 20% tax bracket. He's got $50,000 of credit card debt. So let's break it down. What's his payment burden? Typically, your minimum payment is 2.5% of your credit card balance. So if his cards total 50 grand, he's paying $1,250 a month on his credit cards. $1,250 a month, 12 months a year, that's 15 grand. He's in a 20% bracket, which means in order to net 15 grand to take home to pay his credit cards, he has to make $18,750. 10 times 20% nets you $15,000. This is where it leads us to the insanity factor, is what I call. $18,750 divided by the $70,000 a year he's making is 26.7% of his gross income is going to make the minimum payments on his credit cards. That's crazy. And remember what we talked about? Jerry's in the credit card trap. He's never going to bring that $50,000 of credit card debt down. He's going to keep making that interest payments.
You know, can I ask, out of the 2.5% that he's paying per month, how much of that is interest on that $50,000?
Let's assume he's paying 20% interest on that.
Okay.
So he's paying $10,000 a year in interest on $50,000. So he's paying $800 a month right off the bat on interest. $500's going down on the balances, but then he uses the cards again for $500 and the balances never go down. So that's where he's stuck no matter what he does. Now, suppose Jerry, instead of, finds a way to get rid of the credit card debt. And he can find that way right here. But he finds a way to get rid of the credit card debt, and instead of taking $1,250 a month and paying it to Visa and MasterCard, he starts saving it at 6% interest. With Jim and Pat's financial advice and things like that, he starts building wealth. $1,250 a month, 6% interest, 10 years is worth how much in the end of 10 years?
Oh, it's a ton of dough. It's at least $200,000.
And over 20 years, it's $566,000.
That's a crazy amount of money. And think about the fact that, all right, everybody's watching going, well, my credit card bills don't cost me $1,250 a month. Okay, what if they cost you $625 a month and you were able to do that and put that away? Instead of having $200,000 in the bank after 10 years, you'd have $100,000. And you'd have almost $300,000 in the bank after 20 years. It doesn't matter how much you have the ability to save. It's the part where you're saving rather than flushing the money. And if you can save $300 a month, you're going to have $50,000 after 10 years. It's just a factor of not throwing it away. And that's what you're doing when you're paying all this interest on your credit cards.
And the thing people need to remember, and it becomes very easy when you get older. I can sit here and say 20 years ago it was like that. I remember I was sitting at this desk 20 years ago doing the same thing I'm doing now. Okay? When you're 25, 20 years sounds like forever. But if you're 50, you know it's not hard to look back to 30. And if you're 50 and you look back 10 years to 40 and you look ahead 10 years to 60, that's a 20-year gap. Things when you're an adult don't change that much from the standpoint of your routine and what you're doing. And if you're in this credit card trap and you're making these payments, what you're doing, why I call it financial cancer, is you are throwing away your financial future. You're throwing away your retirement. Jerry's going to get to 70. He's going to owe $50,000 in credit card debt. he's either going to be paying rent for an apartment or he's going to still have a mortgage with 20 more years to pay on because he's probably refinanced.
Yeah, but he's not going to be tending bar making $70,000 a year anymore. And that's the problem. When people are paying these interest, all this interest and all these fees, etc., you're stealing from your retirement because Jerry doesn't want to work for the rest of his life till he drops dead. He does want to retire.
And even if he doesn't, if he wants to retire, he can retire, but what's he got? He's going to have Social Security, but he's going to have credit card debt. He's not going to have his house paid for. He's going to have zero savings. His alternative, get rid of the debt at 50. When he gets to 70, he saves that $1,250 a month. He's got $500,000 in savings. He has zero debt, and he can comfortably retire.
Absolutely.
That's the key. That's the message people need to realize when it comes to credit card debt. So here's the question. What are Jerry's options to get rid of that debt?
Well, we're going to look at the possibility of doing debt resolution. We're going to look at the possibility, can Jerry file a bankruptcy? We're going to look at whether or not Jerry has to be made bulletproof or uncollectible. There's opportunity to put Jerry in a position, no matter what, where he can survive this, get rid of the debt, or ignore the debt and kind of push the creditors away. The best choice, though, is always find the least costly, most effective method for the client, in this case Jerry, to get him out of debt.
All right, so, and I'll give you a quick hint because there's a lot of topics to cover and we don't have that much time. Bankruptcy, if you qualify for a Chapter 7, is always the cheapest, fastest way to get out of debt. And we've talked about bankruptcy a lot on the show, and we'll talk about it on different shows. We're not going to do it today. We're going to assume, for one reason or another, Jerry can't qualify for a bankruptcy. Maybe he's got $200,000 of equity in his house, okay? Debt resolution is how we get rid of credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, and that's what we're going to cover in the next segment in terms of how debt resolution works. And then we're going to circle back to the credit score, and that'll wrap us up. We'll be back after a break.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for the fall giveaway. $500 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. The drawing is November 1st. All you have to do is go to the homepage on Law and Reality, pop in your email address, and you're entered. It's $500. Make sure you take advantage of it. We have webinars coming up. Webinar coming up on Wednesday, October 14th, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Take action to improve your debt situation. We're going to go through all the methods we use to address debt so that you preserve your future income for you and your family. We're going to look at solutions using bankruptcy, outside of bankruptcy. We're also going to address small businesses facing business problems due to COVID. Learn your options. Obtain a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You can watch the webinar from home. It's a great deal, great package. 6:30 p.m., Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. We have a webinar coming up on Wednesday, November 4th, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. No estate plan. What are you thinking? The majority of Americans still don't have an estate plan. It's an absolutely essential thing to have, to plan not only for what if you die, but also when you are living and you need someone to act on your behalf. Suppose you're disabled. Suppose you go into the nursing home. Suppose you need your parent to take care of some financial transactions for you when you're at college. All this stuff fits into into an estate plan. You need to have the right plan. Learn the right documents, those that apply while you're living, the will and the trust for when you pass away. Understand probate, how to avoid probate and spending the money on it, how to avoid the biggest mistakes in estate planning. Attendees get a gold certificate off the cost of any estate plan. You want to sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Remember, you can always come into the firm for a free consultation. During COVID, we're doing them in office using all social distancing protocols. We're also doing teleconference and video conference if that's your preference. Just go onto the website, request a free consult, call the office 888-235-HELP. You can request it that way. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat and Jim Samasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Remember, just go to the website or call 888-235-HELP. Take advantage of the free consults. Our free consults are not meet and greets. We analyze the problem, give you the recommended solution. We let you know what it's going to cost, how to pay it, what's the smartest move, the right plan. Also on the website are free reports. Brand new Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by Jeff Linden and myself. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Loans and Formations in Michigan, and the Retiree's Guide from Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law. Now back to the show.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We were here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We'll create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so debt resolution. How do you resolve debt outside of bankruptcy?
All right, so let's go over the basic concept. Debt resolution is the idea and the concept of paying less than full value that you owe on the debt, period. We're going to settle it for pennies on the dollar, that phrase that we always hear.
How do you do it?
Well, we negotiate hard as attorneys, and so everybody's been up at 4 o'clock in the morning and watched TV and seen that commercial where, do you owe more than $10,000 worth of debt? Call us, we'll help you. Well, the reality is the concept is great, but those companies are national companies that have this theory that you can settle debt over 4 years.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. What we look at is we use what's called we call the power of the minimum monthly payment. We utilize the minimum monthly payment that you've been paying. We store
So in
it.
Jerry's case, it's $12.50 a month.
Right, so we take it, we stick it in the bank. We stop paying the credit cards. And we save up that $12.50 a month, and we utilize that as the war chest to get you out of debt. And it works. And it works in about 18 to 24 months.
So let me put some multipliers on it. If you take $12.50 a month and we multiply it by 18 and by 24, that pot we deem to be the amount of money we're going to use to settle all the credit card debt, the $50,000 of credit card debt, to pay the legal costs of doing it, because we charge 9% of the debt as a fee for doing it.
And that sounds expensive, but I'll tell you what, those national companies charge 15 to 25% of the debt.
Plus, they charge you $100 a month to hold your money.
Yeah, service fee to hold your money. It's
But-
crazy.
So here's the whole point. Instead of making the minimum monthly payment for the rest of your life, which is what Jerry's going to do, you make the minimum monthly payment to yourself by not giving it to them, saving that money over an 18 to 24 month period, and then we use that money to settle the debt in the range of the settlements vary, but they're on a low side of 15 to 20% to a high side of 45 to 50%. On average, it comes out to around 37% when we do it our way.
And
if you get sued, we defend the case for free as part of our part of the program, and we settle the case in the lawsuit. These other companies,
They don't.
they don't defend you.
They will tell you that you've got to pay more money to get a lawyer. But here's the key. What's really interesting about all of that settlement is that right now is the time. The settlements that we're getting because of the COVID crisis are getting better and better every single day. The banks are starting to hurt. They're not going to announce it to the world, but we're starting to see that with the settlements we're getting. So if you are in that position where you've got a ton of credit card debt, now's the time to act, not later, because by the time it gets better, it'll be gone.
Well, there's another reason why now's the time to act that I always say to the client is, I'll give you an example. I've got a client who we've settled $200,000 of credit card debt recently. It took him a year to finally decide to come in and do it. During that year, he was making his minimum monthly payments on $200,000, $5,000 a month to the credit card companies. He gave them $60,000, and then he came in, and then we settled the debt going forward. Had he made the decision a year earlier, he would have saved $60,000, and that would have been $60,000 in his bank account that much sooner.
Everybody
so
should be listening.
Wait,
Everybody should be
worse it
listening
is.
right now for the sound of the toilet flushing, because that's what happened to $60,000. It got flushed down the toilet.
Now, sometimes you could have a reason why you need to wait, and it depends, and you have to look at your circumstances. It's strategy. If your car lease is up next month, you don't stop paying your credit card debt. You lease the car while your credit score is better, and then you do it. There's a lot of strategy and planning to going to it, but the point is, start at the beginning. Credit card debt is financial cancer. You need to get rid of it. Now, once you do get rid of it, and you've settled the debt, the amount of your debt has gone down. Your pay history took a hit while you stopped paying, but now you start getting more credit available from all the cards that you didn't have before because you got zero debt. You now have available credit. What happens to your credit score?
Credit score goes right up.
It goes up. And then it doesn't go up to where it was. It goes up higher, because when you're at the point where you've tapped out your credit cards, your credit score is suffering in the range of the 650, 670 range. Once you get rid of the debt, your credit score goes back up into the mid 700s. That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.